right, welcome to the first of our Windows installation videos. So if you are a Mac user, there's no reason to watch these. There is a separate batch of installation videos for you immediately before these. If you are a Windows user, then you are in the right place. So what we're going to do in this lesson is download the Anaconda distribution. Fundamentally, the Anaconda distribution is the piece of software that we need to install in order to be able to work with Pandas for this course. So what the Anaconda distribution includes is a bundle of software. It includes Python, which is our core programming language. It includes Pandas, and it also includes about 100 or so data analysis libraries. It's a really easy way to get started with data analysis because it installs everything for you in one fell swoop. This is the easiest way that I found to get yourself up and running for beginners. We're also going to automatically install something called Conda, which is an environment manager. You can think of an environment as a playground or a sandbox. In each playground, you can install a different version of Python, a different version of Pandas, a different version of a library, or a different combination of libraries, so you can see how your code works across different versions of a technology. We're going to dive more into that in upcoming lessons, but for now, just realize all of that is bundled into the Anaconda distribution. It's one simple install that will take care of everything we need for this course. So let's go ahead and open up our browser of choice. Here I am in Chrome, and in Google, I'm going to search for Download Anaconda. The very first result we get here is this individual edition from Anaconda. We want to click that, and that will take us immediately to the download page. So on this page, I'm going to press the download button. That's going to take me down to this section where I see a wide range of operating systems, and of course we want the Windows one. So there are a couple options available here, and I want to make sure you understand what all of them are. So first up, you'll see two versions of Python listed here, Python 3 as well as Python 2. So as with most things in technology, the greater the version number, the more up-to-date a piece of software is. So Python 3.7 is newer than Python 2.7. In fact, Python 3.7 is newer than Python 3.6 and Python 3.4, etc. And when you're watching these videos in the future, it's possible that this may be a number that's even greater, like 3.8 or 3.9. That's totally fine. You should target the latest and greatest version of the software, and that will be the one with the greatest number overall. So look for that number, all right? Now, if you're curious why the old version of Python is still available, that's because Python 2 and 3 are actually backwards incompatible. What that means is that Python 2 code is not guaranteed to run in Python 3. So when Python 3 came out, a lot of companies kept their old code bases in Python 2 and have migrated them slowly over time. So there's still some community that works with Python 2, especially in legacy code bases. So the Anaconda makers want to give you that option in case you're one of them. But for people like us who are learning from scratch and learning for the first time, you should be learning with the latest version of the language. So whatever you see here that is the greatest version of Python, you should target that. You'll also see two options underneath Python 3, which is 64-bit and 32-bit, and this refers to the type of your operating system. Now, it's not too important to know what exactly this is. This is related to your computer's memory. It's a computer science concept. The important thing is if you don't know what kind of Windows installation you have, you just want to find that out in order to know what you want to click here. So if you don't know, what you can do is go to your Start menu, search for Control Panel. When you open that application, you'll see a System and Security setting right here. In here, you can click System. And in this panel, under System Type right here, you'll see whether your operating system is a 64-bit version of Windows or 32-bit. So memorize this number, and whatever number you see here is the number that you want to select. So I just saw 64-bit, so I'm going to select the 64-bit graphical installer, and that will start the download. It's a single exe file, so I'm going to give it a few seconds to download, and in the very next lesson, we'll pick right back up and show you how to actually install the software. So I'll see you there. All right, so in the previous lesson, we downloaded the Anaconda distribution, and in this lesson, we're all set to actually install this executable. So here I have the file in my downloads folder. I'm going to double click it. It may take a second to launch. I'm going to click run right here when this box pops up. It might also give you some kind of security warning, like this is a foreign application. Feel free to accept that warning if it does pop up. Okay, welcome to Anaconda 3, the 2020 version. You may have a greater version. This will guide you through the installation of Anaconda 3. Looks good to me, so we can click Next to continue. Here, you're going to see the license agreement, just the copyright information. Obviously, as with all open pieces of software, you have to promise that you're not going to steal it and not going to sell it for profit, that kind of stuff. So you can click Agree right here to continue. All right, here you're going to have a choice on whether you want to install Anaconda just for yourself or for all users on the computer. The easiest option is to just install it for yourself. That's a local installation that does not require admin privileges. So I would stick with this option if you're unsure here. This is the simpler one. Afterwards, you can click Next. Here it's going to give you the destination folder or the installation folder where it's actually going to put the installation of Anaconda. I'm guessing for most users this is actually going to be on their C drive. For me, this is going to be on the D drive since I'm actually running this fake or virtual Windows machine through AWS. But whatever is here is fine. You can stick with the default location installation directory unless you prefer to have your software in a specific folder on your computer. But whatever is here should be fine. You can click Next. All right, here you're going to have two options. One is to add Anaconda 3 to my MyPath environment variable. That relates to being able to find Anaconda from any directory in your command prompt, which is a special utility program in your Windows computer that allows you to issue text commands to your computer. This is something that we really had to worry about a couple years ago, back when Anaconda didn't have so much of a cohesive integration or a exclusive program that allowed you to work with it with text-based commands. Now Anaconda works a little bit differently, so you can leave this option unchecked. I understand that that may be kind of a tricky or a murky explanation, but you don't have to worry about this in today's installation of Anaconda. And here you also have an option to register Anaconda as your default version of Python 3.7. So if you're a Python developer that has alternate installations of Python on your computer, this may be something you want to uncheck. If you're learning Pandas and Python for the first time and you don't really care, it's totally fine to leave this checked. All right, so I'm going to leave it checked and I'm going to press install. So usually at this point, a lot of instructors I watch videos from tend to fast forward through the installation screen because it's just a bunch of minutes of the kind of output from the installation. I prefer to leave it for you here just so you kind of understand that I feel the pain of the installation, that it's going to take a couple minutes, and just so you kind of have a reassurance that these things don't take 10 seconds of fast forwarding, they actually take a couple minutes, and it's totally fine if your computer takes a little while to set up Anaconda. I want to make sure you see the entire process from start to finish with as much detail as possible. So I'm going to be quiet for a little bit. I'm going to let this installation run, and then I'll rejoin you when this is done running, and that should be around the time that your installation is done running as well. So I'll see you in a few. Then you are in the right place. So what we're going to Okay, so here we are at the end of the installation. You can go ahead and press next right here. Here it's going to give you a quick preview of PyCharm. PyCharm is just an integrated development environment, basically a fancy code editor that is developed by a company called JetBrains. You don't have to worry about this. This is just marketing. You can go ahead and press next here. Finally, on this page, this final prompt, you have an option to check out some tutorials or some information. This will probably open a web page. If you're interested, you can go ahead and visit these links. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and uncheck them and press finish, and that will finish up the installation process. At this point, you should be good to go ahead and drag this to the trash if you want to. So the other thing that I want to show you in this lesson is how to uninstall Anaconda in case that need arises. So you'll want to head to the installation directory. That's the same one you picked when we were moving through the installer a few minutes ago. So for me, it's going to be in D, Users, Boris, and Anaconda 3. It might be different for you, but you just have to find your Anaconda 3 folder. And in here, if you scroll down a little bit, probably to the bottom actually, you're going to see this uninstall Anaconda application. That is how you can uninstall the entire Anaconda bit or program if the need ever arises. Okay, and to close this lesson off, there's one more thing that I want to show you, and it's one more way that we can verify that everything has been installed successfully. So what I'd like you to do is to open up the Start menu and then type the word Anaconda. And there should be a result that pops up called Anaconda Prompt. Okay, so we're going to launch this, and this is what's known as the command prompt, or sometimes the terminal in other operating systems. This is basically an application where we can issue text-based commands to Windows, to our operating system. This is how people used to interact with the computer before we had graphical user interfaces like these, like the ones we have today. And as long as you can launch this application, you should be able to see the word base right here in parentheses. And if you see that, everything is successfully set up as expected. So I'm going to explain more about what this means in the next lesson, but as long as you're able to launch this and you see this, it means everything has been set up successfully. So that's all there is to cover in this lesson, so I will see you in the next one.